Hi everyone, my name is Lynn Colson and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to share with you something I learned this past weekend and that's how to make this adorable little hot chocolate pocket with our treat tubes, and these are dehydrated little mini marshmallows. I'll give you the location for where you can purchase these. Real marshmallows didn't work too well, but this is just a cute little pocket with the marshmallows tied on there. I want to share with you all the things that I used to create this. Again, I learned this at a weekend retreat that I went to in Atlanta with my fabulous upline Brian King and his upline Pam Morris. And this is one of our make and takes, so I thought I'd share. So first of all, we're going to need a card base, and that's going to be in crumb cake, and it's a standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you're going to need a piece of DSP, whatever kind of DSP you want to use. This piece is from the Quilted Christmas. It's on page 5 of the catalog, and I cut it down from to 4 by 5 inches. We're going to do some cutting on that here in just a second. To make the circles here, I used my circles framelit set. I always put mine on the magnet sheets that come from Stampin' Storage, and then put a label on here with the number of dies that are in that set, so that I make sure that when I put it away, I have all the numbers that I'm supposed to have and I don't lose them, because I've lost them before. So I used a solid circle from one part and a solid circle from the same one, and then a scallop circle from here. So they just nest within each other. You can decide what size you want them to be. It's certainly up to you how big or small you want it to be. I think my actual the one I'm going to make today is the green's going to be a little bit bigger. It's not the scallop. This is actually pointed, and mine are more rounded. So I'm going to have that. Now, I did want to share a tip with you that whenever I need to make anything that with circles or small pieces and stuff, I don't throw a lot of my cardstock away. What I do is I actually have it in a container here. You can see I sort any little scrap pieces of paper that I get, so long as they fit in here, which you can put even up to a full quarter size of a sheet of paper in here. I don't do that very often, but sometimes I do. I have labels, so that says crumb cake. I can reach in here and grab a piece of any of our active colors that we have going on right now, all the way, and they're alphabetical, so it's easy to find. And this is just a great way for me to be able to keep my paper so that I have scrap pieces that I can use to cut out circles like these that I did for the project today. I didn't have to go cut a great big whole 8.5 piece by 11. I had crumb cake and I had garden green already in my little stash here, and so I just was able to pull those out. One of the other things that I do is I always I buy large quantities, like 3 or 4 packs of Whisper White, and then I take it to you can take it to Staples, or you can take it to like FedEx stores, I think, and they will, for a price, but a very nominal price, cut it down for you. So I have a lot of it made, cut down to 3 3/4 by 5, and then 4 by 5 1/4, and then also some that are at full 1/4 of a sheet. And so that would be 5.5 by 4 1/4. So then I always have Whisper White layers available. I just keep them in my cabinet here so that I don't have to go constantly cut paper, cut white, Whisper White cardstock. So that is also another helpful tip. So for our project today, we're going to take our card base, and we want to make this kind of cute little diagonal pocket. So I'll show you how to do that. So this piece is already cut to 5.5 by 8.5, and I've already scored it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to put it in my Stampin' trimmer because this is what I always have. I don't use a scoreboard very often. I usually just use this. And what I want to do is turn it this way so that I'm looking at it portrait wise, I guess, long ways. And I want to line that up at the 2 3/4 mark. So it's at 2 3/4. Can you see that? There we go, 2 3/4. And I'm going to take my scoring tool, the light gray one, and I'm just going to titch that just a little bit just so that I can see it. I don't want to go, it's not scoring the whole thing, I just want to make a little tick mark there. And now I'm going to cut from here where that tick mark is up to this corner. So again, I'm going to place it in my Stampin' Trimmer. I'm going to mark that place where that tick mark is right on the score or the cut line. And then I'm just going to pivot my paper so that the corner of it here is on the cut line. And I can just go whoosh, and there's my triangle piece, right? I'm going to do the same thing with my DSP. I said this was, again, this was cut to 4 by 5. And so I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to mark it at 2 1/2. Again, I'm going to do that with the little score tool. And then I'm going to line that up and pivot it so that I'm cutting it to the corner. I think that's, there we go. And cut it off. And now I've got the perfect size layer for my card. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this just with regular glue. That's out of the way. Regular, I always use Tombow. And then when you fold it, of course, this makes your pocket. Now you only want to put, today I'm going to use score tape. You're only going to put score tape along this very bottom edge right along here. You're not going to put it all over the whole thing because you want to make sure that you've got a way to put in your pocket, your treat tube and your hot chocolate mix. So I'm just going to put a piece right on the very edge like that. I always use my paper piercer to pull that off and fold that in. Now I've got my cute little pocket, right? All right, now this part, when we did it in our demo that we had, we used a crocodile. I have a crocodile, but I don't know that everybody has one. So I wanted to share another way that you might be able to do this. You want to kind of eyeball it in, and with this paper, it's actually pretty easy to do because I've got a, it's a pattern on there, and I want to just poke a hole, and I'm using my paper piercer and my piercing mat, and I'm just making a good size hole, and then I'm going to make another one in that same space just a little bit further down. And this is for the ribbon. So we're going to be putting ribbon in here inside, and that's what we're going to use to hold our treat tube in there. Before we do that, we can go ahead and do our stamping then. And so we don't have a lot of stamping on this. It's pretty easy. There's my holes where I put that in. I guess I really shoved that in there, didn't I? I'm going to stamp this You Warm My Heart in black on my circle. Okay, and then the mug right over the top of it. And it's just the outline of the mug, so it's not going to cover up too much. And some steam. There we go. And now we're just going to attach that onto our circles. I'll pop out the last one, not the middle ones, with dimensionals. And then there is a trick for tying in the ribbon, how you can tie in the ribbon to make it so it holds a treat. A couple of dimensionals on the back here. I don't know if you noticed, but there are many dimensionals now in the catalog, in Holiday Catalog. which is awesome for those tiny little things that you want to pop up. And that way you don't have to cut your big dimensionals down like we used to have to do. I don't have mine yet. They're on order. They're coming, hopefully this week. Okay, now one of the things that, a tip that we were given is whenever you have to thread ribbon, what you can do is you can take washi tape, and it doesn't matter what color it is. If I can find the end of it. It's disappeared. Let's try this one. There it is. Okay. And wrap the end of your ribbon in washi tape to make it so that it's a little pointier, kind of like a shoelace end. Might make it a little bit easier to get through the hole. Or you can try it without it, depending on how big your hole is. Certainly if you have a paper piercing tool, or if you have a stylus, that also works to help pull those through. So you're going to go down on one side. This is a piece of 14-inch real red ribbon. And then you're going to come back up through this way because you want to make a loop for the treat holder to go in. It's always kind of tricky putting ribbon in through there, isn't it? This one, our sample that we made, we used the this kind of tinsel ribbon, which looks great with this particular paper, but I liked the real red with the paper that I used, which was from the Quilted Christmas. I just thought it looked a little bit brighter interior to go with that particular piece of DSP. You can certainly use whatever you want. A thinner ribbon is usually better. And I'm just going to tie this into a bow. And then tuck in my, tuck in my hot chocolate. And I always make my bows left-handed for some reason. I'm not sure why. So everybody always gets confused, but there we go. And here's my hot chocolate. And what a great gift that would make for your coworkers, for your neighbors, for teachers. I may be making these for a choir that I'm in. You know, it's just a nice, cute little thing. I don't think I mentioned the stamp set that I used was Hug in a Mug. And there's lots of things that you can do with this set. Certainly hot chocolate with the whipped cream, but there's also tea. I think this looks like a soup bowl, and you could use it for certainly a get well kind of card, you know, with a chicken soup or something. And spoons and straws and peppermints and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots and lots of ways to kind of decorate up your mugs and make people feel better with this cute set. This is found on page 42 of the catalog. It's $17. Here it is right here.